This is my decade-old electric motorcycle. Purchased this in 2014, and I thought it'd be a great idea to share my experience, my woes, the fun, all the things I've learned, and the things that you may need to know if you're considering buying an older electric motorcycle or just getting into electric motorcycling in general. So, what's it like to ride this bike? Being a decade old, there are certainly newer models out on the market, both Zero, Energica, Harley's Livewires. Yep, you've got your options. And I've ridden a few of them, and I'm not quite compelled to upgrade just yet. And I'll talk about upgrades that I want to do to this bike a little bit later. But first of all, what's it like to ride? So, this was my intro into motorcycling in general, and when I test rode all the learner approved bikes here in Australia, it was really just these 500cc and pretty generally slower, learner approved, safe, yeah I get it, motorbikes. And this, after I test rode it, I thought, wow, this is just so responsive, so quick off the line, and even though it's not the fastest off the line, it's good enough to get learning on, or even if you're moving at pace, you will enjoy it. So for charging the motorbike, the charger is located just at that belly pan right there. It's hidden by a cover, so you won't be able to see it, but on board it has a 1.3 kilowatt charger, which would generally charge the 11.4 kilowatt hour battery that this bike came with in about 9 hours roughly. That's from almost dead to completely full. Not often you get there, but good on you if you did it. 0%, that's a club. I'm not there yet, but the plug itself is pretty much like your computer cord. I believe it's called, oh, don't quote me, but C22 or C23. That's likely wrong. I'll put the correct connection in somewhere here. But in later models, there are options for charge tanks, which go just around here instead of the existing thing there, which I'll talk about later. And that increases your charge rate from 1.3 kilowatts to, I believe it was 6.6 or 6.7, and potentially higher in the newer models. This is definitely an older bike. Now, the quality of the bike. Now, I found that everything that came with the bike worked. It worked. Over 10 years, I did have far more maintenance than I thought I would have. Not regular maintenance, by the way. This bike has very little regular maintenance. You're talking tires, pressures, checking them so often, brake fluid, brake pads, and really importantly, the tension on the belt, because these are belt-driven bikes. So if you check those regularly, there's not really much else you need to do, well, that I've been doing anyway, to keep it running well enough. Next, the charger. Yep, that's right. The onboard charger that came with it is notoriously known for failure. Again, your mileage may vary, but if you're on the Zero forums, you might see that a lot of people talk about these chargers failing. This is my third charger. The first two failed, and I will talk about upgrades later, like I said. But yeah, it's not the greatest. But again, under warranty, both of them. Zero quite good here and there for warranty purposes when they were here in Australia. Now they've returned. So yeah, I can't really complain, except for not being able to ride it, which is And lastly, the battery. Now, the battery, as some of you may have seen from the video footage, got a keen eye, this bike was supposed to come with an 11.4 kilowatt hour battery, nominal at 10, I believe. Just in the last year, I have had to have it replaced due to failure. And look, it might be me, it might be that I do charge. You know, I used to charge in the rain sometimes. I used to keep the bike at work outside, so it's a bit of sun damage that you'll find in terms of the quality of the plastic, but I think that's pretty normal for motorbikes in general, unless you're talking about really high-end bikes. Potentially they have longer lasting plastics during sun exposure. But the battery was recently replaced for a more recent battery. It is now a 14.4 kilowatt hour battery. Nominal, I think, at about 12 or 13 from memory. I haven't done the math, or actually I'll put it down there if I'm right. And it's under warranty, yeah. So Zero replaced it, very kindly after 9 years of ownership. So well after the warranty would have expired on a battery of this bike. That being said, I did keep logs of early degradation that I believe was outside of the norm. And when I presented those logs to Zero, I have a feeling that's why it probably encouraged them to make the battery change. So, options on this bike. Now, I wasn't able to choose many options when I got this. This was, even though I bought it when it was less than a year old, it was a demo bike. And so they had stickers, which were lovely from the dealer. Obviously I had to just peel them off slowly. But I didn't get any options when I got the bike. Since then, I did get the Zero top box, which has served me quite well. I've also got a non-Zero aftermarket windscreen, which I find really helps for wind buffeting. I did change the mirrors out because I thought I was young and fun, and I put on these bar end mirrors. In hindsight, you do lose a bit of visibility with these, as some people might know, and I'm getting a bit old now, so I think I might think about changing that up soon. Other options, not really anything else. Yeah, we're looking at stock brake pads that came with the bike after 10 years. Haven't changed them. The front is getting a little low. I put 70,000 kilometers on this bike, but there's regen, which just really helps with only requiring the brakes just at that last grab at the lights to stop. But apart from that, you'll find that if you're putting it in the mode that has quite a bit of regen, you can do a lot of your stopping just by letting off the throttle or touching on the brakes to kick in the regen before the mechanical brakes kick in. So yeah, not really any options. There are options you can look for if you go online, Facebook Marketplace or whatever it may be. There is a power tank which increases the size of the battery by, I believe, 3.6 kilowatt hours. Could be worth it potentially if you want to drive just a little bit further. I might do some math and pop it up on the screen here. Other options you can get from Zero are side racks, or side panniers I should say. There's a kit that has both the rails as well as the side racks. They're Givi branded as well. They're 22 liters from memory, which would be nice. I actually got the Zero soft bags, which I don't have on at the moment because yeah, I don't really have the rack kit that you need for it, so it kind of just doesn't sit quite well. But yeah, hopefully a few more upgrades now. It's really hard to sum this up in just a few words, but electric bikes, just like electric cars, they have this really linear surge of power from, you're looking about 0 to about 40 kilometers an hour, and I feel like Zero ramped that up quite slowly or quite linearly to kind of keep it safe, because there's no traction control on this particular model, as well as no ABS. So just to keep it safe in both the wet and the dry, I think they've linearly ramped it up to about 40 kilometers an hour, where it reaches some really good torque levels. So from 40 kilometers an hour to 100 kilometers an hour, I don't go faster than that. No, I definitely don't. It is fantastic, yeah. And because there's no clutch, there's no gears, there's no idling, essentially you just pin the throttle and you're off. You really are. I love it. Now the weight of the bike, this bike is about 176 kilos, if memory serves, and the weight is quite down low. It's this is the battery just here, and it's so easy to just kind of to sit on, and at a traffic light you can lean to one side to another. You don't really feel like the bike's gonna tip. I think I'm just under 6 foot tall, obviously flat-footed, because yeah, it's quite a regular seat height. I wouldn't say it's low or tall. And the braking, again, because you tend to use regen for a lot of your braking. With the Zero bikes, there's in the app there's actually 2 options for braking through regen. There's brake, where you press on the brake, and there's the other one where you just let off the throttle. So you can actually choose 2 levels of regen and customize it to how you ride. So this is the belt drive. So as you can see, no chain, just a giant rear sprocket, if you call it that. Can't remember actually. Yeah, and then you've got the adjuster there. Your swing arm, which I think looks pretty cool. It's not like just a lump of metal like some bikes have. Your kickstand there, and another pillion passenger. There's your rear shocks. I believe they're not, I think the front shocks might be Fox shocks. I'll have a look to see what these might be. That might be written onto the... Oh, these are Fast-Ace, that's right. Yeah, Fast-Ace shocks. Oh, battery is getting really low. And here you've got a bag. Yeah, because this is storage. You can unzip it. My zip's quite stuck after 10 years, but yeah, you can unzip it if it was slightly new or greased or waxed or whatever, and open up and put, you know, a beer or 2, or burritos, as they do. I've heard they do in California, where this bike's from. You've got your dash here, so I'll show you a quick look at the dash. That is there your percentage of your battery left, or your state of charge. That is your trip average of how much energy used per kilometer. If you're used to having an electric car, or electric bicycles, or some type of electric mobility, you might be measuring your consumption in watt hours per kilometer. That's the range left. I have been driving not too spirited today, but trying to have a little bit of fun. It might start raining, and so you've just generally got to be a bit careful, obviously. These 2 I might show you on the bike, but these are torque and power bar graphs. So they go up or down depending if you're accelerating or regen thing. This is your mode display. So if you press this mode button just around here and you hold it down, you can change between sport, eco, and the custom. There's obviously your speedometer in kilometers an hour. You can change it to miles per hour, obviously. That is the time usually, but being a 10-year-old bike, guess what? There is a little button battery in these dashes, and mine just happened to die recently. So, yeah, great. These are select and adjust buttons to adjust some of the options on the screen if you wished. This is the windscreen I installed. I think it adds quite a bit of help with wind buffeting on the freeway, which I don't mind, but some people say it looks pretty gaudy and pretty cheap, and they're not wrong. It is cheap and gaudy. The indicators, so these indicator bulbs, they're not LED, unfortunately. I wish they were, just to give it a little bit of extra, you know, a bit of modernity or modernness to the look of the bikes, but I've heard there are some nice options like Wiser and a few others out there. I haven't installed any just yet, but again, we'll see. The headlights I have replaced. They used to be halogen, but now they are LED. I don't find they blind anyone in particular. I've put the light pattern against the wall to see if they are too high, and I find them quite reasonable with maybe the reflector design or the LED replacement design. Your brake reservoirs here probably needs to be upgrade it at some point, only because it looks quite tarnished with the brake fluid that kind of eats away at this if you're not careful changing brake fluid. And these are your front brakes. I'll see if I can find the diameter and the type potentially, and I'll put it up on the corner there. And these tires, I believe they're my third set of tires since owning the bike. I find that's pretty reasonable. I have put, again, 70,000 kilometers on this bike, so it has, yes, served me well with the tires, and that is her.
Have like any questions about my gladly take some to kind of keep the bike running and running well. Yeah, please any quits please do what you do. But here's a little bit of a sniff of what I plan to do next. It's good.